Okay, welcome to the meeting of the Assets Inclusion and Development Committee on the 1st of December. As our chair and deputy chair are not in attendance today, we'll need to elect someone to preside as chair for this meeting. Can I have nominations, please?
I don't mind chairing. I nominate myself.
Councillor Pitts?
Second.
And all in favour? Okay, that's everyone. I'll just bring you the.
I've got to move to the front.
No, you're all set up there, so we'll just keep it there. It's not okay.
I don't think I'll be using that table. I hope not. With four of us, okay. Welcome to the meeting of the Assets Inclusion and Development Committee. In the event of a fire, please follow the instructions and directions to the fire exit and make your way to the assembly point adjacent to the Quick Fit building. In the interest of openness and transparency, the law permits recording and photography to report on the proceedings of council meetings when they're open to the public. No flash photography or additional lighting should be used without prior consent. Anyone wishing to report on the meeting or anyone not wishing to be filmed or photographed should notify the clerk or chair. The meeting will be live streamed on YouTube, therefore please remember to speak clearly, use your microphone, remember to switch it off when you've finished. As the chair of the meeting, I have the discretion to suspend or terminate the live streaming if, in my opinion, it seems convenient to do so would prejudice the proceedings of the meeting. Improper conduct or disruptive behaviour will not be tolerated. Please raise your hand to indicate you wish to speak and wait for me to call upon you. As chair of the meeting, I'll determine the order in which members will be invited to speak to ensure the efficiency of the meeting. No member may speak for more than 3 minutes on one item or more than once. Therefore, please make your point as concisely as possible. And please, may I also remind you to be polite and respectful to also nod at all times. Please put your phones on silent mode and put your phones away for the duration of the meeting and adhere to the non-smoking policy of this building and its grounds. This evening we have councillors Andy Pearce, John Murray and Deborah Ray, and myself, Wendy Brooks, and community committee clerk and planning officer Taylor Williams.
Yep.
Yes,
that's me.
Right, apologies for absence. I think that's the first one, isn't it?
Yes, Chair. So we received apologies from councillors Colby, Jones, Newsom, Pitts, Rappensberger and Youngman, all with reasons provided.
Anyone propose? Andy proposed, seconder. Deborah, all those in favour? Unanimous. Declarations of interests and dispensations. Anybody have any to declare?
Bear with me, Wendy.
Andy?
I'm looking for the item that we were talking about when I came in. Is that on the agenda?
It is on here. Yeah, it's oh, I'm sure I saw it as well. Well, you want to declare you're a member, you're chair.
I wanted to, yeah, so, well, I believe in one of the discussions, even if it's not named in the agenda, that a discussion may come up under one of these items about an asset in Gunton Ward. I'm the current chair of Gunton Residents Association, which has a general interest in the improvement of the area, but no specific interest in any asset.
I mean, I declare I have an interest. Well, I'm the rep on the Plaisir Twinning Association, but got no financial interest at all in this. There's nothing. Yeah. Okay. To receive declarations of disclosable, pecuniary, other registrable and non-registrable interest from councillors. Have you got any, Taylor?
None received, Chair.
To consider the draft minutes and confidential note of the extraordinary meeting on the 10th of November 2025. Andy?
Propose we accept both as a true and accurate record of that meeting.
Seconder? John, all those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, public forum, an opportunity for the public to make comments on any matter on this agenda and to consider any advance comments from the public. Have we got any, Taylor?
No advance comments received, but we have Josh Dashwood in attendance. He's here to speak in relation to item 111. So this will be his chance in the public forum to speak on it. He did
Okay.
provide a meeting paper which has been uploaded. So,
Okay.
Josh, this is your time.
So we'll be there quite quickly, so we don't need to bring him forward, do we?
No.
Right, to monitor expenditure by this committee and
Apologies.
oh, sorry, what have I missed?
Josh will need to speak during the public forum on the
Oh, sorry,
item in
I
question.
thought he was, okay, sorry, Josh, my apologies. So this item is about paddle tennis and a proposal to have a paddle tennis court in Lowestoft, I believe.
Correct. Yeah, I've worked closely with Ewan Gallagher, your sports development officer, and he sort of suggested coming to this forum to just to present some information on paddle tennis and the opportunity it could offer. Perfect. Just to clarify, how long I can keep it as short as you like. How long would you like me to keep it to?
Do it within kind of 3 minutes. That would be brilliant.
No problem.
We've had your meeting paper, so I think all of us will have seen your meeting paper. Is that
Excellent.
correct? Has everybody seen it?
Yep.
So you don't need to go over those details for us.
No worries. Okay, then. I guess just in essence, I work for the national governing body for tennis and paddle. I guess the clear things or the obvious things is paddle is a booming sport across Europe and in the UK, and tennis participation and paddle tennis participation has been growing significantly since 2019, and the current LTA strategy of tennis opened up. Therefore, as participation is increasing, and currently East Suffolk has 0 paddle courts in its local authority, and with recent investment from the LTA into Lowestoft on tennis courts, it was just a proposal that we'd be very keen to work with partners in Lowestoft to potentially look to add paddle tennis. Paddle supports active lifestyles, family friendly, fosters social well-being, and meets many of the council's sort of ambitions on sort of getting residents active and obviously moving more. We feel that paddle complements existing sports like tennis and pickleball that are in the town and can bring new people to the racket sports and provide a new opportunity for those currently playing racket sports. As you'll see from the paper that I sent over, sort of costs vary by design, but I guess we're here to provide support, and we're here to provide many examples of case studies that have worked well across the country and in Suffolk itself, to show that results do work when investing in paddle tennis. Ultimately, to summarise, paddle is growing fast, it's inclusive, can bring economic and community benefits to local areas, and as currently Suffolk don't have any courts, I thought Lowestoft might be interested in kind of adopting maybe an investment position on this one and gives you opportunity for something new and exciting for your residents.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, interesting idea and presentation. I've seen it in action, the game. So I'd be supportive in principle. Question is, you've obviously thought about this and you reference the fact that LTA have been involved in funding. Have you got an idea of where in Lowestoft? Because it has sides to the court and the area, it's a sort of semi-permanent arrangement, I guess. And we've already got the facility that has fairly recently been refurbished. So would you have an idea where? Are you looking at repurposing some of that previously updated area, or do you have in your own mind sort of preferred other areas that you would be thinking of? Yeah, that's my sort of interest at the moment.
No problem. So I have had a conversation with Ewan, and he sort of suggested 2 of the existing sites. I mean, ideally we wouldn't want to kind of build on the already investment on the tennis courts and the pickleball courts, for example. We'd probably be looking for any additional land or that might be available on those sites, or alternatively identifying other partners, venues within the town that would be open to discussion or might have some space to install them.
Is that all right?
Well, just yes, because I mean, clearly, land is not easy to come by, and it was whether you'd got sort of a half an eye on somewhere, because if it were to go forward, that would be crucial to its development, because without the land, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So just that.
Deborah?
Sorry, Josh.
Oh, sorry. Has Ewan shared places with you?
He shared 2, so he mentioned Normaston and Deans as an option potentially, or exploring that. But yeah, I guess it's working with other partners, and I guess any contacts or any ideas that you may have, or anyone else in the town that might have, I just guess the message would be reach out to me, reach out to you, and yeah, we're certainly happy to explore any opportunities to see if it could make it happen.
Deborah?
Yeah, actually, my question was very similar to John's. I think it's a really good idea. I know paddle is a very popular sport at the moment. I was wondering whether you could somehow repurpose the current courts, but it's different, isn't it? Because it has glass. It looks like it has glass sides, like a squash court or something. So it would have to be a completely new area. You can't adapt to the other areas, I assume.
So there are temporary options. So there are examples around the country where we've had temporary pop-up courts come up, but I guess long term, you'd rather develop a fully established site that's kind of has that long-term project aim and life cycle. So yeah, it would be a case of identifying maybe an alternative area that we could look to develop. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Cheers, Wendy. I had kind of a 2-part question, but John actually asked one of the questions that I was already going to ask, which was the sites, because I have anecdotally become aware of a neighbouring parish that is also considering this option, and I wasn't told it was confidential, but I don't really want to talk about it in public session because it may be, but their understanding was on their court that it would involve conversion of an old court rather than new court. But obviously we have just upgraded ours. We've just done a capital upgrade across 3 sites. So it would seem a bit of a nonsense to me to take courts where some of tennis courts have already converted to pickleball to then potentially convert them again. But I'll obviously, most of my other comments I will save for when we discuss the item later on. But I notice under the funding options, in addition to grant possibilities and so on like that, what the 4th option talks about private partnership models. Now, obviously, we're a local council and we have quite a long-standing policy decision now about free to access public use, which we've built on. So we don't just ensure free to access public use to access the facilities, but also to hire out equipment. And we've just sort of ventured into the area of providing coaching as well. That free to access policy is quite important to us, both as in and of itself as a community benefit, but to also try and break down the barrier to participation. So I see that you are from the LTA, and the LTA were obviously heavily involved in our capital upgrade. So can I just ask, in the private partnership model that you've got in mind, would that lend itself to a client which basically has free to access, or is that premised on a chargeable operation model?
So just pick up on a couple of things you mentioned. So I'll pick up on the first bit about your comments about maybe an other parish or anything like that. So you're totally right. Sort of, we wouldn't want to lose kind of recently renovated courts or courts that are fit for purpose. If anywhere across the country existing tennis courts have been used for paddle, it's generally been where they're derelict or it's been a repurposing of a court that isn't safe. So just because obviously we're in a delicate situation where we don't want to lose tennis courts for paddle. In terms of the funding models, I kind of just included everything on that slide, but yeah, totally aware of your free sport policy across the town. And yeah, that option would probably be ruled out and was more one for, so I guess, separate to yourselves. If you knew of any partners locally that wanted to take up that offer, then they could. But with yourselves, yeah, we would look to maybe explore other funding opportunities. So currently we don't have any grants for PAD ourselves, but we are going back to the government off the back of the Parks Investment Project and promoting the participation benefits that have been seen through that project across the country and trying to secure some further funds. So yeah, if we were successful on that one, then there might be an opportunity further down the line, and we'll keep you and yourselves notified on that one. But in the short term, it'd be looking at other funding options, and we can see how we can help maybe with grants.
What you've just said, Josh, the two courts, the two places that Ewan has suggested wouldn't actually be suitable, because we've just had all our courts refurbished at Dean's Oval, and it'd be very difficult to fit in another court there. Just thinking off the top of my head, I can't think where it would go. The same with the other place, Normanston Park, that we've had all those as well refurbished and lights, not lights put in there. The lights are at Dean's Oval, so we'd actually be looking. We'd have to build another one, and that also could be quite tricky on both of those two parks. But that's a discussion we can have. Andy.
Yeah, I'm thinking very much along the same lines as you, Wendy, and obviously, you know, Josh is a bit of a disadvantage here because he's in a public forum speaking on a 3-minute time limit, and also there's a limit to some of the things we can have a conversation about in public session. But when we were in the early stages of discussion about the other capital upgrades, without preempting whatever might be recommended or decided when we come to discuss the item at 111, if we took the view that actually, you know, in principle, we'd like to explore this option, but we'd like a further in-depth conversation with you, like away from a meeting, you know, just like a Zoom call or a video call to discuss possibilities, would you be willing to accommodate us in that?
That'd be fantastic. Very happy to have some further time to look at other locations that might be more suitable.
Also, that means we can bring Ewan in as well, and we can talk about it in more in depth. And but I think there seems to be an enthusiasm for exploring this idea. Am I correct to say we'd like to? Yes, we'd like to continue this discussion with you, Josh, but on a Zoom call where we can have a more in-depth conversation with you. And as you said, you'll do that. That's great. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't need anything else from us this evening, do you?
That's great. Thank you very much for your enthusiasm, and look forward to following up with you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, now, do we want to do this? Do we want to do this item before? Do we want to discuss the? Sorry.
We've only got one item between.
Yeah, we do that first. It'll be a quick one, won't it? So that's the budget. Is that right? Yes, the budget one, please, Taylor. Oh, Andy, go on.
I was just going to say, I'm not aware that we've got anything to discuss tonight because it's been actively monitored through budget and loan. The committees have made their priorities and requests known. So just suggest that, you know, our main priority is that none of the existing funded budgets are produced, that they're all index linked to maintain their value in real terms. And let's see what comes out of the budget process, what recommendations come back to F&G and full council.
Okay, right. 111 to receive it. We've had our presentation on paddle tennis and potential future opportunities. So, Andy,
I would just propose. I mean, you pretty much said it in the public forum, Wendy, that we all seem to think this is worth having an exploratory conversation over at least. So let's make no decision tonight and just take it forward and set up a Zoom or a Teams call with this gentleman to discuss the possibilities in detail. And as Wendy said, hopefully with you and in attendance.
No problem. So I can look for available dates, email all committee members, Josh and Ewan, and we'll find common dates and get the meeting set up.
So Andy's made the proposal. Can I have a seconder? Deborah, all those in favour? Unanimous. Great. 112.1 to receive a memorial bench application for Kensington Gardens. I've looked at this. It says
the application says in the bowling, Kensington Gardens, bowling gardens. So where is that, and is there space?
So I did briefly catch up with Johnny, and when I said that the application just said sort of near the Bowls Green area, he said, "Oh, okay, if we did, if the committee wanted us to meet with them, we could have a discussion and find an appropriate location." But they didn't seem to think there'd be a problem finding somewhere for them.
Andy?
That was going to be my main question, because it's previously been suggested that space might be finite in Kensington Gardens for requests of this nature. So if GMT are open, I would propose that in principle we accept, that we ask GMT to meet with them, and that we delegate the exact location to GMT off the back of that discussion with the applicant.
Seconder? John, all those in favour? Unanimous. Right, 112.2, to consider acceptance of a grant fund for a new 4 locker box up unit at Kensington Gardens and provide the required match funding. Well, this is Ewan's paper, and Ewan has successfully got the grant funding. Well done, Ewan. So I think we accept the grant, don't we? Is there anything anybody else would like to say, except thank you, Ewan? Yes, we accept the grant. And the match, I think the match funding is 20%, if I remembered correctly. I might not have quite remembered correctly.
138, whatever that equates to in percentage terms, expressed as a capital amount. And
Yes, 50%.
50%. Well,
so £6,138.
well, I propose we approve.
Second.
Those in favour? Unanimous.
And
Sorry, on you go.
I was just going to say, could we just delegate the decision between James and Ewan as to which budget? If there's sufficient funding left in the sports development budget, they might want to take it from that, or they might want to take it from parks, or they might want to split it 50-50. So leave the decision to them. You happy to include that in the proposal, Wendy?
Sorry, to consider granting landowner permission to Lowestoft Town Tennis and Pickleball Club for signage at Dean's Oval. Andy?
Well, can I just say on what you've just been said, I don't see that you have a registrable interest if you just play on the course.
Yeah.
Because you're not involved in any management decision making like with club or anything like that, are you? So you're just a stakeholder, like any member of the public.
Yeah. Well, I propose we approve. It's quite a nice sign.
Yeah, Ewan spoke with the planning officer at East Suffolk just to check that everything was okay, and they said, yeah, it will be from the design and the spec that were given. It's keeping in the area, it's within the limits, so there's no issues planning wise with it going up.
John?
Yeah, vaguely, I'm not sure if this isn't one that we've previously talked or something similar to it before. The question I had about it was, and Taylor said that they've talked to the Suffolk Council, whatever, but the only question is the durability, because sometimes you see signs that shortly afterwards they start deteriorating rapidly. So I don't have a problem with it. I would second then or support any proposal, but it in my mind, it needs to be durable and not something that will get tatty and look a mess 5 minutes after going up.
I think what you're thinking about, John, is that they came to this committee because they wanted to put something, a container to have leaflets in. And that was a discussion about would it be durable and all the rest of it. And actually it was. Anyway, Andy. Yes.
So I'll second, but can we pass on the comment that we ask you and everyone to give thoughts, you know, whether it's laminated perspex, whatever the current, to give thought to durability, rather than just lowest cost, but something that's going to be blown away and destroyed in 3 months.
I think their intention is to sort of follow suit with the cricket club sign that's already
Okay.
there, and that's definitely lasted a good long while. But I can certainly, in the discussion to them, pass along the request from the committee that they ensure good durable materials are used.
Okay, so I'll second on that basis.
Oh, I got one, actually, there's one point. Let me just have a look at it. Sorry, let me just look at it again. Is our logo on there? Should our logo be on there?
Another point as well, Chair, if I can.
Andy?
Apart from the logo, well, because it's a club sign, isn't it?
Yep. Do we have our logo on the cricket club sign?
Probably wouldn't be appropriate for us to have our logo on a club sign.
Okay.
If we're just giving them permission to have it on our land. But could I suggest, you know, they've got social media, they've got email. For people who don't use the internet, they haven't got a phone number. Can I suggest that maybe a phone number is added to the contact details?
Yeah, I can pass that on. I've just checked the cricket club sign doesn't have our logo on
It
it because
doesn't,
it's
that's
a club
fine.
sign.
That's fine.
Are you happy to add that to the proposal and do that,
Yeah.
that in the contact details, they add a phone number for people who haven't got internet or social media access?
Yep. Deborah?
Just another thing. Do we know the size of it? Because, you know, it might be huge. Do we have a limit on the size?
The size will be, I think it's basically the same size as the cricket club that's currently there. Because it's a conservation area, it has to conform to a certain
Right,
size. I think the dimensions.
I wouldn't like,
Yeah, I think it's the same as the cricket club
Yeah.
sign.
there might be a reason there isn't a phone number on there. And if they,
But we don't have to insist on it, do we?
No,
Can we ask them to
yeah.
consider it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Because not, if it's just general users of Dean's Oval, not existing club members, they might be interested, but not everybody has email, online access, and those who do, you know, out of choice sometimes, don't want to use social media.
is that okay, Taylor? Everything all right? Okay, so I proposed it. Andy seconded, yes? All those in favour? Unanimous. Right, where are we now? Okay, we're now to receive and note the draft minutes of the Events and Communications Subcommittee meeting on the 22nd of October 2025. Noted. Allotments. To receive and note the draft minutes of the Extraordinary Allotments Subcommittee on the 25th of November 2025. Noted. To receive a recommendation from the Allotments Subcommittee regarding the terms of reference. I've got one comment on this. I don't really understand, but Andy can probably explain. But what I did notice was their terms of reference includes the mayor and the deputy mayor can turn in ex officio. But in fact, we changed the rules, so it's only the mayor. On all the other only the mayor can attend ex officio, not the deputy mayor as well. We changed that over, I think, about a year ago or 2 years ago.
From mayor to mayor and deputy.
No,
No, it was, Wendy, just the mayor. It is the mayor and the deputy mayor, but where both attend, only one has voting rights.
okay.
Yeah, that was what was changed in May. But this doesn't actually relate to that. This recommendation is because at the moment the Allotment Association chair, and I think it specifically mentions chair, attends our meetings. She will be standing down at the February AGM, and what they wanted was more flexibility so that if she's too busy, they can send another committee officer in their place, not necessarily the chair. So it doesn't mean we'll get the whole committee turns up. It just means that if the chair's unavailable, they can send the secretary or the treasurer instead. and it was just to change chair specifically to the chair or another committee officer.
Okay. So are you proposing it?
Yes.
I'll second. All those in favour? Unanimous. Seems very sensible. Allotments, we've done that one. To receive an update on exploratory discussions for possible twinning arrangements. Can I just make something clear to the committee that the Plaisir Twinning Association, it will not be their twinning. They don't want to take on another twinning association. I've spoken to the chair. So if we did go ahead with this, it would be as the town council. Andy.
Yes, and that's understood. And also, I don't know how the current twinning thing in 78, because twinning has to be agreed by the municipal authorities. So it would have been agreed by the municipal authority in the day, even though it has subsequently meant that the Twinning Association has pretty much taken on all the activity and all the administration. But it would have been agreed politically by the municipal authority of the day, which I assume would have been Waveney District Council in the late 70s. So that is understood. But I think also, if I read the minutes rightly, we said this. I understood from Chris like a month ago that there was going to be a comprehensive briefing paper in preparation, and the minutes of the last one said we wouldn't make a decision, we'd hold it over. But Chris was on holiday anyway, and then he's been busy with like Remembrance and HMD. So I assume it's just the paper's not ready for consideration.
Well, so we contacted the embassy of the municipal authority, and we thought once we hear back from them, we'll be able to have an understanding of what the process is going to be, and we can present that all to you. We've not heard back from the embassy. So Chris sent them an email just querying what was happening, and his response he received was basically, don't email us about the same thing, we will get to you when we get to you.
Oh, very friendly.
Well, they have a lot of work going on in the embassy, so I think they want to minimise the amount of duplicate emails.
Well,
So we just understood that we just need to wait for them to come back.
yeah, and I think we do.
Yeah.
If that's a response, we do, because I think the sense of the last one was, although this idea came back through our mayor from the previous visit to Gstaad, and it was relayed, but on a one-to-one basis, that if we're going to advance these discussions, we need to have direct contact with the other municipality. So I think we therefore wait for their response. I don't know whether Naseema has the name of the dignitary that she spoke to when she was there, that perhaps she could pass on to you. Yeah, so that if you do have correspondence with them, you can mention the name of the person who spoke to our mayor, because they were presumably a delegate of the municipal authority in Gstaad. But I think we just wait, because there's nothing to discuss until that dialogue is established.
I looked up sort of what the process is for twinning, if there's like a sort of internationally recognised process you have to go through. There isn't really. It is just the two towns who want to twin between their authorities need to discuss and decide how they want to do it. Sometimes there's a sort of oath of friendship paper that's signed by both, but that's not necessary. So yeah, once we heard back from the embassy, we'll be able to progress it from there.
Well, there's also the question about, is this the best town in Europe for us to be twinning with? But we can have that discussion when the information comes back. Andy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I looked up Gstaad. I'd never heard of it before this request, but in terms of the size of the town and and where it is, it seems to fit the mold. We all know, don't we, that twinning arrangements were a European thing that arose following the Second World War to try and encourage friendship, minimise the likelihood of conflict happening again, so on and so on. So topically, it's not a bad conversation to be having. I think the advantage in principle of Lowestoft, Plaisir and Gstaad being twinned, as I understand, Plaisir and Gstaad are already twinned. So you'd essentially have the circle of three towns that would all be twinned with each other. That's something positive to consider. But, I also understand, you can have twinning arrangements that are based on friendship only, and you can have others that are more, they have like an economic arrangement, which obviously wouldn't apply to us. But yeah, I agree with Wendy then, just keep it in the back of our minds, and it's part of the discussion at the time.
Okay, everybody, so we're happy with that. John?
Just, I don't disagree with anything that's been said, but when he said previously that it's not something that the existing Twinning Association would be particularly interested in getting involved with, and therefore it would be under the auspices of Town Council. Is there enough oomph here to even really want it? You know, because we struggle to get people to turn up to meetings. So what's the driver for this? And is it a serious you know, I mean, we can talk endlessly, but actually, is it practical? Is there, you know, are we talking about something that we would never really be able to staff? It's just a question, but I'm not sure that we've got the oomph to do it.
I don't disagree with you, John. And I think we wait for the information. Andy?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you either. The driver for it is that it was a specific request from a Gishtag dignitary at a visit that our mayor attended that was then relayed back through our mayor. So it came from the other end. But whether it actually came from one person and isn't shared by the wider authority or not is unclear. And so that's when we said at the last meeting, we need to take it off this chain of one person talks to another person and back it comes. And we need to open that direct dialogue to understand whether there is any oomph from the other end for this. Never mind at our end, whether they would want a friendship arrangement. You know, and the basis and perhaps the fact that we're already twinned with Plaisir and that twinned with Plaisir might complete a circle, but we don't know whether they would see it that way. Yeah, I think in terms of the oomph from our staff, I'm not sure what would actually be required because, but you know, that is why we need to open a dialogue. But I totally understand why the Twinning Association wouldn't want to do it because, you know, they are an association of members of the public who, you know, however old they were in the 1970s, you know, they're now 50 years older. So to take on all the administration as well as the financial burden of handling a second twinning arrangement, I can totally understand their reticence there. So I think, you know, potentially, yeah, if we all felt, and I mean, when I say we all, I mean both municipalities, not just everyone on, you know, everyone or a majority on this municipality, that this was worth pursuing, then I guess the administration and the, you know, any finance thing, you know, cost of exchange visits and so on like that, would be taken on by the town council. But what would actually be required of our staff, you know, that I don't know. But I think the Twinning Association would need to be a consultee in those discussions because, you know, we can host civic visits and so on like that. But if it comes to exchange visits where people are staying, we're not going to be putting them up in hotels, are we? So,
John?
It's just a thought. I don't know if there's a Polish diaspora, as it were, in the area, because if there were that or people who might be want to be associated with that, then one possibility, if there is a drive from the Polish side, it might be that the town council through its network could facilitate the creation of a separate association if there were sufficient people in the town who were interested in that. So in a way we'd be an enabler, and the civic things we could facilitate again, but we wouldn't actually then be, it would operate much in association with, but separate to the existing association, but it wouldn't then be a task for the town council.
There is quite a large sizable Polish population, isn't there, in Lowestoft? It's also quite a sizable Portuguese population, and Portugal is also one of the countries. So there's somewhere in Portugal that is also friendly with the Plaisir twinning people. So we don't need to, you know, we don't need. I mean, yes, Andy.
no. Sounds Polish. Is this sounds German?
No, my sorry, my European geography is clearly.
Oh, no, but the point is well made. Yes, if we wanted to encourage the development of like a separate twinning association for, and I don't mean to take on the administration, but if there's going to be exchanges of people from each town, you know, and people who would put up people on exchange visits, because, you know, we can handle administration, we can host civic visits from dignitaries, but we couldn't readily, you know, oh, okay, 20 people are coming from Gstaad. Okay, so we've got 20 people in a local hotel for a fortnight. You know, that, but I think that the immediate priority, I think, is all we know is that one dignitary from Gstaad made this suggestion to our mayor on a visit to their town with the Plaisir Twinning Association, or that came about at the instigation of them. So we need to find out what is behind their request, because the request has been initiated at our end. We don't know whether this is just one individual speaking out of turn and expressing a personal view, or whether it is a view that the municipality itself would like to explore.
Yeah, well, I do agree with what John said, in that there could be a German group in the town that
Yeah.
may be
There isn't a
happy to
German
take
group in
this
town.
on. No, but there could be, as John said, the German diaspora that could, you know, we could engage with the community and find out whether there are any interested parties.
Well, come up with a different country that we think it'd be quite nice to twin with. I'd quite like us to twin with Holland, for example, because that seems to make much more sense to me than Germany, and the kind of far reaches of Germany, which is impossible to get to.
We could do the bigly country of the.
Huh?
We could do the bigly country in America.
Andy's gonna say the last thing on this, and then that's it, right, Andy?
I think what you're all saying is very valid, and to a certain extent, yes, the conversation we're having is a bit previous, you know, because we need to follow up on this. But these don't have to be either or considerations. I mean, I totally agree with Holland, because A, it's the nearest country in continental Europe to us, but B, you know, we have a history with them, a trading history. You know, the refugees with the kinder transport were brought across Holland by refugee groups, etc. But none of that rules out, and you know, you haven't got to be, well, if we say yes to this, we've closed the door to that. That isn't the case. And if there was interest in setting up a twinning association, like more widely, then yes, but I don't think it's a case of either we would do it or they would do it. I think we would work with them, because they would do things on the exchanges, we would do administration and civic stuff. So, but I think, yes, totally. Let's find out if there is anything behind this comment made by this one person to our mayor, and if there is oomph from the other side, before we look at whether there's oomph at this end, and see where that leads.
Okay, right, so we'll leave it in your capable hands, Taylor, to come back with more information whenever you can. Okay, and so date of the next meeting is Monday, the 5th of January. Any items for the next agenda? Anybody? Want the fence on, John? Right.
Well, developments on it.
I was teasing you,
Well,
Andy, but yeah, I don't know if we'd have an update by then, but if we do have an update, then obviously on there. And
Just wanted to check, because the resolution of the last meeting to recommend pursuing the transfer, is that going to quarterly liaison before it goes to committee? And if so, when's the next quarterly liaison meeting?
I'll have to check that with Sarah, because that will be tabled through the Suffolk channels and Chris Valley. So I'll have to check with Sarah what route that follows and where it would next be discussed here.
It would make sense to have it, because obviously when we had the initial meeting after the 23 elections with this administration and Chris Valley, and the question was asked in principle, would you consider transfers of community assets, providing there was a commitment, you know, not to profit from them, to use them for a community purpose? And his reply was like, yes, absolutely, in principle. And then we had to complete all the legacy transfers, which we've by and large done. So it kind of would make sense to take it back to that forum and continue for that conversation, and then he can direct it to wherever it needs to go at the other end.
yep, okay, everybody. Meeting, thank you.